Dr. Varadi, good morning. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Mostly when we talk about International Teachers Day, historically we've tended here to focus on the challenges of teaching, which are many and all of that. But one of them surely today is about the fourth industrial revolution, how that can be turned into an advantage. I mean, the Panyaza Lesufi, the MEC for education in our province in Gauteng, is big on technologically enabling or digitally enable the classrooms. Is that the way of the future?
I mean, it's undeniably the momentum towards fourth IR is not a South African characteristic, it's a global one. So I think what we need to do around World Teachers Day is actually look at what are teachers doing and how do we sort of empathize with the challenges that they're facing. And it's not about the challenges, I think constantly we criticize teachers. We're looking at better pass marks, better matric marks. We want them to teach better, teach differently, teach digitally now. And so actually what we need to look at is proportionate support towards fourth IR skills. So if we're looking at the concept of technology impacting our outcomes in our schools, we need to support our teachers first.
Does that mean that we need to retrain our teachers?
It's not even about retraining. It's an ongoing process. So we need to work out what are we have a president who is very progressive in terms of his digital education policy. But are the policies of both national and provincial government ensuring that we know what the fourth IR impact is in education? Because if that doesn't happen, how do we tell teachers or communicate with teachers, these are the skills and the areas that you need to focus on?
What kind of things would those be? I'm just thinking it's not just having a tablet in a classroom. It's not just putting up a PC and connecting to things. I mean, you'll battle in some areas with connectivity, and we know the cost of data in South Africa is very high. What would those be, in your view, just to make sure that we technologically enable our teachers?
Well, I think that we have believed that our contribution to fourth IR is devices and internet. That's the bottom of the pyramid. It's basic essentials. We need the environment, but that really is the bottom of the barrel. We need to be, and then we sat back and we said, well, we've given you all these resources, so why don't we see improved outcomes? We actually didn't fill the middle part yet, which is student-centered digital education, professional development for teachers, and transformation, whole school transformation, which means that we need to determine what is our identity in the fourth IR, what does a future classroom look like, is that a lab?
Are we seeing some progress in that? Because, I mean, I've mentioned Panyaza Lesufi before, and the only reason is, I mean, he's big on saying we are getting a digitization into our classrooms, and there are a couple of schools that have started. I mean, are we seeing progress?
I think we've seen progress in the enablement of the environment. I don't think enough has been done to transform that environment or that access to outcomes.
Now, if you are a teacher, what should you be doing then? Considering all these factors that you've done, you've qualified as a teacher, you're in the classroom, facing other socio-economic challenges, even psychosocial challenges, as we've seen in the level of violence that happens in our schools. That aside, just on the technology side, what should you be focusing on as a teacher?
So if I was a teacher, I'd want to work out what should my professional journey look like. And that is as simple as Googling, right? So it's looking beyond digital literacy and saying, the ability to word process or create a PowerPoint is not going to cut it in 5-10 years' time to really drive innovation in our schools. You need to look at what are other countries doing in terms of their professional journeys, because we've got a lot of countries around the world, matured education markets, that are taking on this ed tech space. And I think, if you look in South Africa, all of the other industries, fintech, medtech, have been preparing their change agents for a long time for this fourth industrial revolution.
But then we're churning out these students on the other side, and they're not ready for those types of industries, or which are moving at a fast pace.
But that's my point. So then why, in the edtech space, haven't we been working on this for the last 10 years? And so now we're trying to disrupt it by going from 0 to 100 and saying, well, let's put coding in, let's dump devices on teachers and schools, and then let's sit back and say, tick, we've done our bit for the fourth IR. Actually, government needs to now come in and say, so what is the framework that we're going to deliver education through with technology? And then we must get involved, both public and private sector, to drive professional learning.
So as a very simplistic, practical level, if I'm a teacher today and I'm a science teacher, should I go and learn coding myself as a teacher to enable me to carry on in my career? Because I might be obsolete in a year's time or 2 years' time.
Potentially, but the point is science going to be obsolete? No. Is language going to be obsolete? No. Maths? Neither.
So the subjects remain the same, but how we deliver them and how we make sure that in the classroom there's a digital enablement around the subject is the key
Because
thing.
we can wait for government to say we need policy around it, but the reality is our students are demanding it. So the fourth IR is not this event that we policy and we announce and we launch. The students are driving the fourth industrial revolution because the globe is driving it.
Are you hopeful?
I'm very hopeful. I mean, we've got a fantastic president who's now trying to transform our schools. What we need to do is ensure that we can execute on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Varadi. That's Dr. Corin Varadi. He's the Chief Executive Officer of IDEA. What was it called before? Why is it IDEA?
Institute of Digital Education Africa.
Institute of Digital Education Africa. It was a nice acronym that came out of that long name, IDEA. Thank you very much, sir, for your time.